Hi, in this video, we'll be talking about CSS and types of CSS and some CSS selectors and some other thing. So I'll not want this video to be longer than 20 minutes, but if this part is longer than 20 minutes, I'll definitely going to do another part, make another video for the second part of it. So first, what we need to do is to create CSS. Let me just delete this. I think I have this created before. So I believe you already know how to create a file and folder inside VS Code. So I already have the file created. So we have three types of CSS. So what CSS means is a cascading style sheet. So and we have three types of CSS. We have inline CSS, we have external CSS, and we have internal CSS, right? So we'll go back to our form in order to demonstrate the inline and others. And the other two I made mention of. So here you can change this, like if you want to make change to this, or you want to change the font size for instance, or you want to change the color, or you want to change the font family, or you want to change the font weight or anything. So you can just, here you can see where the cursor is blinking, so you can type your style. That this is inline CSS, right? So color, that means this is if you want to change the color. So you can change this to blue, for instance. So let's see what we got. So let's see what we got. That is the H1. You can see the H1 has changed. So I think I did this before. Let me just clear this. Sorry about that. Let me just clear this so that it won't confuse you. So now here, let's say we want to change the font size. We want to increase the font size. That is to make it much more bigger. So you can give it you can use any of these: extra small, extra large. So let's do extra large and see. So nothing really changed. So let's increase it by number. Let's increase the size by number instead of this. So let's make use of 50 pixels. You can make use of RM, you can make use of EM, you can make use of pixel to increase the size. So, but me, I'm making use of pixels. You can see the size of the text has increased, right? So now let's say we want to add a background color to it. Let's add a background color. You can see background color. You can see it's the same line, right? So I'm adding a background color of this to it. So let's check it. You can see the background color is there. So if you also want to change the font family, that's to change the look of how you can see there's font weight, there's font style, there's display, there's variant. You can change the font family. That is how it's looking presently. So you can change it. You can see it has changed. So font size, sorry, font go this font size. There are so many platforms that you can get your fonts from. So especially the Google fonts. So the Google fonts are free, but others are paid. So but Google fonts are free, so you can make use of Google fonts. So I'll be talking about that on our next video on how to make use of Google fonts. But for now, this is what we are going to cover here. So that is that. So this is inline CSS, right? So let's now talk about internal CSS. Sorry. So inline CSS is for you to just style a particular or a specific object or element, right? So now if you want to style, if you want to make use of internal CSS, so you see from in between the closing tag of the head and the opening tag of the body, that's where you will put your style. So this is style, right? So inside the style, so now let's go get to know about selector. So now we have different type of CSS selector. We have ID selector, we have class selector, we have objects or element selector, we have universal selector, we have grouping selector, that is CSS selectors. So now I want to make use of ID. So I want to apply specific style to three of these things. Let me say, so I'm making use of ID selector now. So ID. So I'll give it a name of my choice. Me, I'm giving it first. So you can give it any name of your choice, another ID. So I want this style to be applicable to all of every place you see me write the same, paste the same ID. So now, even if I want it to have effect on here, I can give it the same ID that is first, right? So we have three IDs now with the same name, right? With the same value. So now, if you want to now style them now, so if you want to style an ID, you make use of hashtag, right? So hashtag, then the name you gave it. So me, I gave it first. So then curly brackets. So in between the two curly brackets, so you now style it. Even if it's the color you want to change, you can change it. I'm changing it to blue violet. So let's see the effect. You can see here we have the gender, we have the first name. I think I also pasted it in the last name. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me check. Yes, it there. Oh, okay. I misspelled it. I misspelled the first here. So let's check now. You can see it has effect too. So let's say we want to increase the font size. We want to increase the font size, for instance. The font size. So I'm increasing it to 40 pixels, for instance. So please, whenever you are styling, don't forget to put this semicolon, except if not, it will not work. So make sure you remember to always put the semicolon at the back of every style. You can see it has effect on the tree, right? So let's say we want to give it, we also want to give it a background color, the, just like we did for the title. So this is it. Background color, I'm giving it a background color of brown. Let's see the effect. You can see. So it has effect on all the three objects I gave the same ID value. You can see that. So now let's talk about class CSS selector. So now female here, I'm going to give it a class name of female, for instance, right? Female. So I'm also going to give this H2 the same name, the same class name of female. I'm giving it the same class name of female. I'm giving Abuja the same class name of female. So now, if you want to style a class, when we want to when we started, I said if you want to style an ID, you use hashtag, right? Then the name, the value. Then if you want to now style class, so you can see it outside of the. Please do not make a mistake of putting it inside the same curly bracket with the ID. So you can, it's outside but still within the style tags, right? So if you want to style class, you put dot instead of the hashtag. So the name of our class in this instance is female, right? Female. So you can give it any name of your choice. Female. So let's say we want to change, we want to give all the of the all the elements we gave, what is it called? We gave class of female. Let's say we want to change the color to red. Color um red. So you can also adjust the color. It depends on how deep or light you want it to be. So you can adjust the color here. So let's see the effect of this. You can see all the elements I applied the class to, they all changed, right? So that is that. So now let's say we want to increase the font size. You can see that it's just similar to ID. So font size, let's say 70 pixels, should be much more bigger. So you can see, so they are bigger. So, but I want to reduce it. Let's say to 40, just like we did the first one. You can see. So, but all the I believe you understand the idea behind this. So it's just the same thing. Is the same, like very similar to ID, to an ID. So an ID, you can use it for singular element or an object, but class is used to classify group of elements or objects. So that is that. So now we've talked about the ID and the class selector. Now let's talk about object selector. So object selector or object or element selector is, let's say we want to style all the H2s. You know, we have let me count the H2s we have. I think we have just two H2s, right? This H1, 1, this 2. We have two H2s. So let's say we want to style all the H2s, right? So you come outside again, but still inside the style, you can see where my cursor is placed. So you just put H2 here, H2, then your curly bracket. So let's say we want to give it a color. There are so many things you can do. Like there are so many things. I'm just making use of the one you can relate with. So I'm changing the style to sorry, the color. I don't even know. Let me use this. So let's check. I think because of the class I gave them, let me remove the class first. Let me remove the where are the H2s. Okay, let me just remove it. I gave them okay, sorry. Let's check. It should have, no, it's not. So I'm removing the IDs. So, and let's see if it will work. Definitely it should work. So let's remove, we are styling H2, right? So let's see if it will have an effect. Aha, you can see these are all the H2. So these are the colors I gave them. The color I gave the H2s. So now let's change the color to a deeper color. You can see. So these are the H2s. So let's give the H2s background color. I want to give the H2s background. So this is object or element selector, CSS selector. So you can select all the H2s, you can select all the H1s, you can select all the labels to style it. It depends on what you want to style, right? So let me give it a background color. Let me give it a background color of blue so that you can see it. Oh, sorry. Okay, now you can see it. So they have the background color of blue. So that is that is a object or element selector. So so that is that. So we have universal selector. So we have universal selector. So now let's talk about grouping selector. So grouping selector is for instance almost the same thing with okay, let me just so that I won't confuse you. So let's say you want to change the style of the color of, let's say, of, let's say, gender. That is the H2, the label, the H2, the labels, the H1s. So if you want to apply the same style to labels, H2s, H1, that is what is called grouping selector, CSS selector. So you can just put H1, H1, comma, label, comma, H2, and you put your curly bracket. So that means you want the same style to apply to these three objects, right? So instead of you doing it one one, you can group them. That is what is called grouping selector. So grouping selector, let's give it a color. Okay, let's give them a background color. Let me not background color of let's say of this. So let's see. You can see all of them, the label, the H1, the H2, all of them has this background color now. So that is what is called grouping selectors. You know, we are still on the internal styling. We've done inline and we've done internal. So now let's go to external. So external, you have to create another file. You know, this is what is the name of this our file? It is called form. Yes, form.html. So we will create another file called form.css. Form.css. This is external styling. No? So you can make use of both. You can make use of either internal styling or external styling or inline styling, but to make your work much more neater. So I don't really advise using inline styling, except it is just for one or two line of code, especially if you have a very large file to work on. So this is external styling. So external styling, in external styling, before you can style it, you come to your form. That is the page you want to link. External styling is that means you are going to link that form you want to style to the external CSS file, right? So you will come here. So I'm going to comment on this on the internal styling. Let me comment this out so that it won't disrupt what we are about to do. So now look at this place. Before the title, you can see where my cursor is blinking, right? So you put link because we want to link it. You can see this link CSS, link colon CSS. Just click it. So here you can clear all this. But you can see that the opening, my cursor is in between the opening and closing um what is it called? The quotation marks, right? So now you just put dot forward slash. If you type dots forward slash, you see the form.css. If it did not appear this way, that means it's not going to link. But if it appeared this way, that means it will link perfectly. So you just click on the form.css. So the sheet is linked to form now. So anything you are writing here, any style you are applying here will automatically have an effect on the object you are trying to apply it to. So now, since we've learnt about ID and class CSS selector, so now all our ID now, so let's go and check. You can see that there's no much more effect again, except the one we gave an inline styling. You understand, ba? So now this ID, we are going to style the ID just like we did in our internal CSS. So all IDs. That is ID. Now we have first, ID first one, ID first two. So I think we have just two IDs that bears first, right? So now we want to style, you now go back to your form. So form, ID, I said we make use of a hashtag, right? So first, that's the name of our, you can name it anything, just like I said earlier. So inside is the same thing with internal CSS. It's just is it's only that you will create an external file for this while you style the internal CSS inside the same page. So you understand, right? So now let's say we are changing the colors, the color of all the element that has first ID. So let's say we are changing the color to let me say to brown, for instance. So I'll make it light. I'll make it lighter. So let's check it. You can see. So let's increase the font size and the font weight. So I'm increasing the font weight, to 900. So let's check. It should be bolder. You can see it's bolder. So I want to change the font size now. I want to change the font size. Change the font size to 50 pixels. Let's see. So you see they are bigger. So the same thing with class. The same thing with class. So let's see the element that has a class ID. Do we even have them any longer? Okay, yes, this is it. The this is the female. We have female class, right? We have class. We have another class female here. So we are going to style the element that has the name class. So we have a female, right? Female is the name of our class. Curly bracket. So we want to change the background color of every object that has female class to, let's say, this. You can see. So every object that has class female, we have them. We have the this thing here. The background color changed. So we can also increase the font size. You can apply anything. Font size. So there are so many things, just like I said, you can do making use of size. So this is it. So let's quickly talk about inline and block display. So you can see this one now. Anything that is straight line, that is on a straight line, like these two things now, they are on a straight line. So they are called inline display. You understand, ba? So if you want them to be on top of each other, if they are on top of each other, it's called a block, display block. So let's try it. So now let's go back to our form. Now look at it here. We have these what is it called? So instead of you to use a line breaker here, like break, if we use break, it will work. Let's check it. Oh, sorry. I think I made okay. Yes, you can see they are on top of each other now, right? So, but instead of you to use break, there is a better way to do that using CSS. So here, this the first, right? We have two first. We have two first ID. So let's say we still want to style the ID. So now display, it's only two ID with the name first that we have. So we have display, you have, see, inline block and we have block. So we want them to be on top of each other, just as if we use our line breaker. So I'm going to make use of block, display block. You can see they're on top of each other. You can see, right? So let's say I want to create Okay, let me do this too. This favorite ID, I want to make them to also be on top of each other so that you understand very well. So let's say city. Where is it? Okay, favorite city. So here I will I'm going to give it class name or ID. I'm going to give, okay, let's check this if it will work. So I'm going to give this an ID of third. You can give it any name of your choice. So let's see if it will work. So if it is not, if it did not work, that means we are going to give each of them ID, like each group of label ID, an ID. So I think it's third, right? Display block. We want them to be on top of each other. So let's see if it will work. So it didn't work. So except if they are in on top of if they are in different div, then it will work. But now let's quickly check here. So it didn't work. So I'll have to just remove it from the div. So I'll place it inside um here. I'll give it here. I'll also put it here. Now also put it here. This is the third one, right? So now let's check. We've already styled it, right? This is third display block, right? So you can see they're on top of each other now. You can see Jos, Abuja, and Lagos. They are on top of each other. Initially okay, let me change the style to inline so that you understand. Display inline. So I want them to be on a straight line now. Display inline block. So let's check them back. You can see they're on a straight line now. So that is the difference between block and inline styling. So I think that is that. So let's me explain what padding and margin is to you. So padding is creating space inside an object or groups of objects, while or group of objects, sorry, while margin is creating space outside an object or group of objects. So let me, so now between, I want to create space inside this first, the ID, our ID that bears first, right? So now, this is it. This is our ID that bears first, right? So I want to create space. This is what I was trying to explain. Here, they are on top of each other. So I want to create space so that they will be a bit they will be a bit far from each other. So padding. We have padding left, we have padding top, we have padding bottom, we have padding right. So me, I want to create padding, like general padding. So let me create it to be 30 pixels. So you can see. So the space now is there. But if you want this line here, the input line here, to be exactly under the first, that means you have to create div for each of the label. That is, let me quickly explain. That is, you have to, here, both of them are inside one div. So you have to create different this thing for them, different div for them. You have to create different div. Let's do that and see what we get. So this is it. But now the ID will be moved to the div instead of it to, you can give it class, you can make it class, you can change it to class if you like, but I'm still maintaining this ID. So let's check it now. You can see. So they are on top of each other, but the this thing is here. So I think mostly this is how it looks like. I don't really know. It depends on the style of the form you are working on. So I'll end this one here. So we can continue in the part two because this is getting longer. This is over 30 minutes now.